Gene, by the way, how did you get that clause? How did your client get that clause in there? I mean,
So he's really, really good at listening to me. He's not 100%. So generally my favorite is that when I actually can get a client to let us completely write their contract documents and I go in and do in-house training so that my client and all their project managers and everybody knows, hey, these are the landmines I put in here. This is the good stuff that will help you. This is how we use it. But he also was really good he was very committed to using AIA forms because that's what his owners liked, is they liked the AIA forms. But he listened to me on the extent of, just because it's an AIA form doesn't mean that you can take some liberties with the drafting. And you can make sure to include things like waiver of consequential damages. You can make sure to include things like you get your overhead and profit. You can be specific about who is your arbitrator. So it's just a good client that really took what I said to heart.
that's wonderful. And I like how you said, when you and I first met, I asked you about mechanic liens, and you remember what you told me?
They're a jam.
Yeah. You got that. I don't know. I don't know if everybody's from the South. So can you repeat what you said? What did you say?
Sorry. Mechanics liens are my jam. It's something that it's my favorite part of what I do. And actually the first day I talked to Hal, I had two going out that day. It is something you'll see on the internet. There's a lot of programs that try to say that they can do a lien for you and do it quickly. And ultimately it's a relatively inexpensive tool that provides you a lot of security and a lot of peace of mind, but it is incredibly technical and detail oriented, and it varies state by state.
Right. As you know, I went through 18 law firms to find you. Okay.
Yes.
And thank God we went through. Lamar was helping me. He can tell you the story too. It was like a day from, the mechanic liens are our jam too, but finding the right local counsel, because I was retired, before we didn't have anything the last couple of months in Louisiana. I mean, in Kentucky. So it was great to have you there. But can you tell us for 1 minute, what kind of liens are available to sub-suppliers in, for example, Kentucky? Because I did read the statute. I was looking for the 18 lawyers, and I was like flabbergasted. Okay. And thank God, and I'm pretty smart on this stuff, how well you explain that. So what kind of rights do people have in Kentucky?
So Kentucky and Indiana, you can file liens on residential projects. You can file liens on commercial projects. Both states do have a unique recovery option for public projects. So those are projects like state highways, public schools, state universities. In Kentucky, for instance, we have a very weird quirk about the lien has to be what's called attested by the county clerk. And it's a weird, funky process. And essentially it just involves, you really have to have a good relationship with each county's county clerk to get it done correctly. We also have the Kentucky Fairness and Construction Statute, which helps for recovery of attorney's fees. And it helps block the enforcement of kind of killer clauses, if you will, about giving up your lien rights and what happens when an owner won't pay and can increase your interest rates. And then we have, there's always payment bond claims, which most generally, if it's a public project, there's going to be a payment bond. So it behooves you again to look for it, especially Corps of Engineer projects. It's very easy to get the payment bonds, and that's pretty much a universal thing, that another tool that you can use to help recover.
That's great. It just for your information and for the other panelists in the audience here today, the lien on public funds that Gene did for us was on an elementary school, and you mentioned something, state highways or municipal. In the state of Maine, after you and I were working, we are now involved in a case, and I noticed that they had a right of lien on funds in Maine, but it was limited only to municipal projects, not state projects. However,
interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting because I'm in my state, which is emulating your state, it's a lien on public funds for state and local, but here it was only for local, not for state. However, when we negotiated with the subcontractor, who probably didn't know better, we were a supplier to a sub, to a GC, we said, we're liening the funds. And that bothered him. So we kept saying that. Hopefully he wouldn't remember, okay, you can't have a lien on funds yet, just a bond claim. So just because you don't have something doesn't mean you can't ask for it, but you got to be a little bit aware of which is legitimate or not. All right, so thank you very much. Great story. Your client's very lucky that you were able to prevail, and you're a great counsel.